His seat was empty. Pegasus was facing the Intercontinental Champion, Bandit Keith, who apparently likes to remind everybody that he's from America. You can't beat me because I'm an American. See?
Yep, that would be Kempf, my friends, in America. Welcome to the Kempf unit analysis. Let us begin. Alright folks, welcome to literally the return of unit analysis videos in a different flavor. So we actually have this particular video sponsored by Twitch chat right under me, who makes a return as we record this live. So YouTube folks, feel free to say hi to Twitch folks, and then you Twitch folks go into the YouTube comments and say hi to yourself, because that's what we do in America. I'm not actually from America though, but you know, let's keep it in flavor. So this video is literally a unit analysis video on Kempf, and I think it is appropriate since we just covered Kempf as being one of the best ARD units, and I will definitely explain that to you guys right now in this video. So sit back and enjoy it. Let's do it. Alright, so Kempf is actually not seen on defense as often as I feel he should be, because he's actually a very good, very powerful unit to use. And if you're looking for like literally a unit who can deal with a lot of tanks, a lot of strategies, and probably will age pretty well, including a likely future refine years from now to make him even better, this guy's your man. I feel like if you don't have Resplendent Elwood, or you feel like Elwood is kind of falling off because of Hector, because that'd be a valid concern, then Kempf is your man. Kempf will slot in nicely into your teams for that reason. So, with that being said, what Kempf does here with his Venom Edge is basically Poison Strike the unit he hits into, and it doesn't matter if he dies. He applies Flash, and pretty much like a Savage Blow effect as well. So Kempf's weapon is actually really stacked, and will literally win games for you on defense if he actually gets to attack, just based off of that alone. So if you're making a defense team, you should really strongly consider where you place Kempf, how you use him on a team, and how the other units complement that. With that being said though, I'm going to show off two particular layouts that I liked, sponsored by Twitch chat of course, and with that, I have the first one on the left here, which will be a frontline-ish Kempf. There is definitely some weaknesses in every layout, and no particular strategy or unit is invincible, but the basis of what I see on that layout on the left here is basically that Kempf gets rallied by Annette and therefore has the same overlapping range as both Cliff and Curio, which means that if, let's say, you're tanking Cliff, you might get hit by Kempf, which then allows someone like Cliff to come in and attack for free. Like, let's say you use, I don't know, a green tank who doesn't have null C disrupt. Let's say you used Brave Ike or Brave Edelgard, and then Kempf came in and said, nope, now Cliff can attack for free, survives, and maybe even Kempf himself survives. Of course, that is particularly weak to, let's say, a Mila on the isolation lane on Annette, which then causes some problems on a layout like this, or Kempf himself could get sniped. But a healer, like let's say with Odd Recovery, might solve a lot of problems for this. Just, there's a little back and forth in the way you design these defense teams, but that's like an example of one Kempf usage, frontline Kempf. Another way that I would definitely think about using him is a Rally Trap. Of course, that's pretty standard by now. If you don't know what that is, go check out the Rally Trap AI video that I've created, even I think it was a couple years ago now. It's still very good to reference and learn exactly what he's doing, what Kempf is doing in this case. So in this particular layout, we have a Rally Trap Kempf. So he's in the back, he comes in through the front, protects one of the other units, goes in and applies his Venom Edge, because you have to get him to attack. Now, whether he survives or not is less important, definitely a little bit less important, but it'd be nice if he does. So this Kempf here on the left, I'm going to feature a few different Kempf builds. This one here on the left here has he's basically trying to activate Pavis, and Pavis, whatever you want to call it, is an important thing to consider against tanks who have auto doubles or brave effects. So you have your Altina, Christina, Brave Edelgard, Vector, whatever, okay? But Vector, for example, might run Special Fighter where you wouldn't get your Pevies, or other tanks with QR Special Fighter or guard effects like Stance 3s would definitely stop that from happening. But if they don't have that, then what you could have is Pevies trying to keep him alive, which then enables his lunge to get a potential tank out of range of its supports. So taking a tank out of Lancina range, Corrin range, etc. causes a lot of havoc. If that tank isn't running Null C, it's probably going to get completely screwed, poison striked, splash damage all over the place. If Kempf ends up under half health, then you'd have Wings of Mercy follow-ups, and you can see where this goes to create a lot of chaos that otherwise someone like Elwood might not even be able to do, because ultimately Kempf is applying Flash, Dazzling for the rest of his team, while someone like Elwood is like an impact special accelerator. So that's the purpose of a build like this if you're trying to beat QR and, let's say, Brave effects. Moving on though, we have a different type of Kempf build. If you feel like the more, like if you're trying to get a red unit to even do anything against Vector, for example, or a blue tank that's really ultimately crushing your team, then Wind Sweep is your answer. So in this case, is Vector giving you some problems? Then Poison Strike, Seal, Venom Edge. Now he can't attack the rest of the team. 20 damage just like that off of Kempf alone, and he doesn't have to worry about dying. That's huge. You may not reposition him away from the team, but with something like this, you can definitely annoy players from even considering throwing their Hectors into you. That is one way to look at it, and that is definitely one way I would potentially recommend looking into for doing. And ARD Speed Res budget naturally synergizes with Wind Sweep, gives you 10 extra speed, so maybe you have even more coverage with what you do out of him. Rally Traps themselves tend to be a little bit weak to certain things too, like Isolation, for example. So like if you run into a Hector who might have, let's say, Mila or Bridal Fjorm support, he might be able to dodge your Kempf. In that case, you really got to make sure your defense design is able to get Kempf to cover most ground as possible. And so ground orders, maybe even running no assist, so he gets danced before the rest of your team could die. So it's difficult, it truly is. There's always going to be weaknesses in this regard, but Kempf is definitely I'd say one of the most deserving units to consider for a defense team. And honestly, I hope I don't run into him, which I guess would be the double-edged sword of producing a video like this, because all of a sudden some of you guys might actually build him. Oh boy. Okay. So, a different way of considering Kempf, because one of the first two Kempfs kind of really want to get in there and survive, but a different way to consider Kempf is he has natural, high, good bulk. And that means he's a candidate for being on the front line, even attacking into Kempf. So in this case, like you could run something like Distant Counter here. A lot of these builds are interchangeable, just work with the fodder you have. But even running like Distant Counter on Kempf could potentially retaliate and then cause Venom Edge onto you if you were to try to, let's say, sweep. But ARD Defense Res as well, obviously keep him on the front line, protect your buildings, and this guy is really going to annoy everything and everyone that goes into it. But yeah, I mean, Fort Defense Res recently came out, ARD Defense Res on Kajal, you might end up having one or might get one in the future, low attack speeds, and Panic Smoke. You basically attack into this guy, and if you don't kill him or find a way to kill him or snipe him, you have to deal with him. And he's one of the few ARD units that truly deserve that sort of attention when playing into. You literally can't really ignore him, depending on how the defense creates him. So, not many I can say for this, but definitely one of the few. Okay guys, with that being said, this is a short and sweet unit analysis that was definitely sponsored by Twitch chat right under me. Layouts provided by them, some of the ideas on the builds provided by them, and honestly some of the people running layouts like this and this unit. So I hope you don't run into something like this, because it might be even more oppressive than your standard cav lines. But with that being said guys, thank you for watching. As always, leave video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next unit analysis, probably sponsored again by chat, and it will likely cover stuff like 5-star exclusives as well in the future, not just Kempf, but I felt like Kempf was pretty appropriate to start off the series. Thank you guys. Peace.